Hello everybody in the chess world. Today I'm going to show you a brief analysis on the Stonewall Dutch, which is an opening that I play with both colors. So I want to show you some main ideas, which will be a way to easy organize what we can see more often in the main lines of the Stonewall Dutch, mostly those with white playing knight on f3 instead of knight on h3, which is another main line. So well, I'll show it from black's point of view, but it's basically the same, and I really do play it with both colors. So, let us see these moves: d4, f5, c4, e6, g3. This is the main line against the Stonewall Dutch. In general, yes, the theory always is saying, yeah, play the fianchetto. This is the best line. The bishop might be clumsy. The dark light square bishop for white might be clumsy or this diagonal. Let us just put it on the long diagonal and be better. Knight on f6, bishop g2, g5. Of course, black is preparing c6, and well, they can choose between then bishop on e7 or bishop on d6. Bishop on d6 is the main line. And as I said in the intro, I'm interested in knight on f3, which is the move that I play more often. I do like knight on h3 with white in this position, which has some ideas of, well, against bishop on d6. Well, I mean, we might want to answer that with bishop on f4. Now we have the support of the knight. And even if, well, black plays bishop on e7, we can still play bishop on f4, definitely. But we can, bishop on f4. But we can certainly also play another thing, just leave this square for the knight to go to. But knight f3 is what I play more often. And also what, yeah, I will say my opponents play more often against me when I play the Stonewall Dutch. So c6, this is the Stonewall, you know, the so-called Stonewall, this is the thing. And after castles, again, bishop on e7 definitely exists, and I have actually played that in tournaments with black, but bishop on d6 is the main line. So there is something that is quite known here, and it's quite often played by white. So I think b3 is the main line, and well, in a way, white is threatening. It's not really a threat, but white is ready to play bishop on e3 if they want to. So, well, the idea is simply to exchange the bad bishop for white for the good dark square bishop for black. So, yeah, strategically, it's a sound plan. It's definitely not something, some sort of salvation or a real advantage for white. But, well, although this is allowable, Queen e7 is definitely the main move because we're developing a piece, but mainly, yeah, we're adding a force into the a3 square, and thus preventing bishop on a3 or even knight on a3. But, well, in here, again, a4 insisting on this bishop on a3 now that the rook has joined the forces over that square is also quite typical. And also, I mean, well, look at things from white's point of view. White is thinking, well, now black cannot prevent bishop on e3, so I am going to exchange my bad bishop for their good bishop. So strategically, I should be fine. This is not what I usually play with white, though. This a4. I do play a3 quite often, but I gotta be honest, normally I play bishop on b2 and I go for other plans. Let us see what happens after a4, because the main answer is, well, what is happening here? Is black just allowing this exchange of bishops, which is obviously good for white, and having nothing in exchange? Well, no, because look at white's pawn chain on the queen side. I mean, it's quite obvious which will be the weakest square. Well, obviously b4. And of course, that is why black will play a5. We are preventing a possible a5 by white, definitely. So that's normal. But mainly we're pinpointing the fact that the b4 square is ours. And of course, we might follow it up just with knight on a6 and just planting a knight there on b4, quite solid. So, well, bishop on e3 is the main line, and here there are possibilities. Bishop takes a3 is one move. Knight e6 is another move as well. It's funny because I like this discussion, this argument that both sides are having. So first of all, white is saying, exchanging bad bishop for good bishop. I got the strategical advantage. Your turn, And black says, okay, a5. So b4 is my square, and I'm going to plant a knight there. So your turn. And look at this, because a cool argument about this was that maybe the knight on b4 won't be so good. So, I mean, that is quite interesting for me. So let us say, just bishop takes on d6, queen takes on d6, and we could just develop the knight, knight on c3 and knight on b4. Well, what happens quite often in such position, and this is interesting, is that white will try to play on the king side. And, well, they're pretty soon going to play some rook c1, maybe queen d2. And one of the ideas is to vacate the squares that this strong knight is controlling. This is a concept, I think that Watson, in one of his books on modern strategy in chess, he was commenting on this. This is the knight on the 5th that is really strong and you cannot kick out, but that is hitting on air. This is cool because it's similar to when you have a bishop on the fianchetto, let us say this one right here, just for the sake of giving an example, and the opponent decides that, okay, that bishop is really strong and I cannot exchange it, but I can just vacate everything. So black will, it's not the example, but yeah, vacate, move this pawn, this rook, this bishop. The idea is, okay, he might be strong, but if he's hitting on air, then it shouldn't be that strong. And this is the treatment that is always such strategical treatment that white often gives in this position. Yeah, have your beautiful knight on b4. I'll just try and make it obsolete. So interesting. It's a pretty interesting, because before, I think before the 50s and the 40s, again, this concept was more applied to the good fianchetto bishop than a knight on the 5th. But first of all, people thought that, okay, even if I vacate the action of a strong piece, the piece will still be strong. See, I'm even taking out pieces that could control those squares. But well, experience has shown that that is a possible strategy. And white has won a lot of games in this sort of line just by that, by ridiculizing a little bit this knight on b4. So, well, in this particular line, let us say after bishop on e3, I'll give you just a brief game. This was between Moskalenko with white and Glek, Igor Glek, I think is his name, yeah, with black pieces, and bishop takes a3 before, it was one of the main moves, as well as, of course, knight on a6 in here. And it's funny because Glek first plays b6. He doesn't rush this knight on a6 and knight on b4, And queen c1 was the continuation, bishop on b7, so of course the fianchetto, queen b2, not bad, taking, the long diagonal, and only now knight on a6. So, well, the game petered out into a draw quite quickly. They followed rook ac1, castles. Moskalenko put, the knight on the strong outpost, and rook f8, rook f1, rook a8, and here c takes e5 to activate. Well, of course, we have to take with the c pawn, because c6 is under fire, right? Yeah, the rook and pawn takes. I guess I would be expecting some knight on c6 here, but e3 was the move. And after knight on b4, now controlling c6. Well, now it makes more sense to have this knight on b4. And the game followed bishop on f1, knight on e4. Again, the strong outpost. Moskalenko kicked that knight right away. And after knight on d6 and knight on b5, the knight from b4 this time decided to go back, obviously to control the square. Here they agreed to a draw. I think, and it looks to me as white is much better, but I don't know. It's just a game. I told you also before that let us go back to the opening and pass the initial moves quickly, because I want to show you. Okay, now I want to turn the board now and have white in this position to show you what I usually play with white. So let us say that I'm on this position with this queen on e7. I told you, I usually do not play this a4 line, although I could agree that we might go into that plan, right? Try to exchange the bishop, not too useful knight on b4, attack on the king side, definitely a good plan. I usually like much more bishop on b2, not going for the exchange. It's more ambitious. We reject the exchange of pieces, even if it's a good trade. Let us say bad bishop for good bishop, and just a few details that I want to show you to show you like the main lines and one particular tactical and at the same time strategical issue that I like to spare because I've suffered this with black. So I want to. Okay, so castles. And knight bd2. And here there are basically, well, three main moves for black. And you'll see this is really in the spirit of the Stonewall Dutch. So basically we'll see between the most logical and normal knight bd7, normal development. Since this light square bishop, and this is another strategical thing that is, well, it's common in almost any queen's pawn opening. But yeah, it's often the problem for development. In development for black is what to do with that bishop. That is why a bishop on d7 with the idea of first going to e2 and h5 and then develop this knight. So this bishop from h5, it's on the action, it's active. It might exchange for a knight or not, or just say there. This is also another really classical idea. And finally, another quite popular move is just b6, going, instead of the bishop on c8, of course, we don't want to combine b6 and bishop on d7. Of course, it's to go b6 and fianchetto the light square bishop. All of these plans are possible. So I told you about hidden square. Well, I want you to be careful with knight bd7. Mostly, well, if you played with black, and just be aware if you're playing this position with white, because rook c1 is a normal continuation. A lot of times, and this is something that I will recommend for white. It's normal to see knight on e5 for white here, which is definitely a good move, maybe the best. And one of the ideas is, well, now black cannot play. We've just prevented b6 because c6 will fall. It'll be over. Not bad. But with rook c1, maybe we're inviting black to play b6, like saying, okay, well, maybe they'll take the opportunity. And okay, I'm not going to say that b6 is a bad move, but look at this sequence, because this is what I was talking about the hidden square. We can go knight on e5, and against, well, yeah, strong outpost and logically hidden on c6. And after this, well, with what we can just take this pawn. And again, black has to recapture with the c pawn, because e takes will, yeah, drop this. And this is the hidden square. I have suffered in some similar positions. This invasion of the knight. The knight can go to c4, taking advantage of, yeah, the fact that this is a hanging bishop. Thanks to the knight on d7, right, which got communication between the queen and the bishop. This is something to be aware of with both colors. So be careful about that c4 square, because it's possible to use quite often, like a hidden square. And well, going back to here, I want to show you to finish off, for example, b6, and after knight on e5, bishop on b7. This has been seen many times. So, well, I mean, we can go rook c1 again. It's a possible move. There are more moves, even queen c2, a5 anyway. It's normal to see black a little reluctant to break the things open with c5. It's a little riskier. With a5, well, maybe we're looking at somebody just playing a4 and pushing it, which is not bad. And now a typical maneuver by white. So white, well, this typical thing, just communicating the knights on the strong outpost. Now knight a6 comes. Well, you can see in this case, well, maybe one day we'll be able to play a3 with white, or try to, yeah, keep this knight not so comfortable going for b4 because of that reason. But so yeah, we haven't played a4 yet. And knight d3, this is a typical maneuver. Maybe it's just It has been proven that this is kind of like what white wants to do. Sorry, having a knight on e5 in the strong outpost, and having the other supporting knight on d3 instead of f3. So, for example, rook ac8, knight fe5. Well, computers say white is still slightly better. And going back, I mentioned this plan of bishop on d7. This is another typical thing, again, to consider with black and to be aware about with white. So, for example, again, knight on e5 is typical, bishop on e8, and knight df3. White is going for the same plan, you know, they're trying to do this. Yes, sorry, I misfire this and this. This way, of course, I mean, this way, okay, my cat probably just entered into the frame, I'm not sure. The idea is that with this knight transported here, well, we've opened up this bishop. This is one of the ideas. So we're kind of trying to get the ideal thing for us. And bishop on h5, this is what I mentioned. This bad bishop is going out there, trying to be active, maybe exchange itself for one of the bishops. Maybe not. Maybe just staying on h5 is still certainly much more active than, let us say, on c8. So knight on d3. Bishop takes f3 now. It's possible. Maybe it's a little premature, you know. We always want to have the pair of bishops. So more normal is knight be on g7, just finishing up the development and after knight e5, well, I think I've seen a game in which g5 was even played here for black. So yeah, things are not always so easy for both for both sides. So and for white, so g5 lashing out, it is possible. We can discuss if this is strong or not objectively, but again, this is I wanted to give you like this general thing because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of books talking about all of these things, but it's funny how it's not so easy, too hard to memorize all of these things, right? I cannot tell you how often I see b3 in this position. I do play it with white, so it's not something that I complain about, and I definitely have faced this with black quite often. So I'll be showing a few of my games with the Stonewall Dutch, mainly with black, pretty soon. So I hope you like the video. I'll leave Citronet as usual to, well, she should just jump into the camera, but now she'll ask you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.